Hey everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm kind of filling in for Annie because she couldn't make it. So this is kind of what's in your neck of the woods, INAT edition. And so I thought, since I don't know the last time somebody's actually kind of gone through and shown you guys how easy it is to sign up, I'd just go through and kind of sign up for an account. So I have an account, but I haven't been very active with it. And I thought if I make like a MAW account, maybe I'll go in there and like ID some things. So go to iNaturalist.org, click on sign up. Let's see, I'm going to use forays at mawdc.org, which you can, where you would contact me. I'm going to call myself MAW Mitch and make a password. Not a robot. And I looked over all this stuff. It looks like their privacy policy is cool. This is like an EU thing. I'm going to create an account. Hopefully the internet will work while I'm actually trying to share this with you guys. Hey, so I now have a new account. Um, so oftentimes we talk about a project that we are posting many of our things to. So in order to do this, if you go up to these tabs here, you'll see that there are projects. I'm going to search for the MAW project. And here we are, right there at the top. All I did was put in MAW. Click on it, and this is our project. I'm going to go ahead and join that project. You've got some rules, get updates. Yes, I want to join. So I suspect it's going slow because I'm trying to share with everyone, but normally this is very quick. So now I am a member of this project. You can create projects on your own if you want. My old account, I have a project that is my house. And so I walk around my house and I put everything into that project. So I kind of see what all is growing, fungal, bugs, plants, all that stuff. So of course, MAW is more dealing with fungi, as you all know. I'm going to go over here to my profile and we'll add a picture here. All right, I'm going to save that. Now, I did notice in my other profile, it automatically defaulted to showing the common name large. For me, I prefer having uh, the common name small. So I switched that. I won't go ahead and I won't go through that for you, but anyway, I'm going to go back to the project. Let's see. I also, if you happen to have a picture, you can do all this on your phone as well. If you have a picture of a mushroom, which I happen to have, I'm going to show you how easy it is to upload. So I'm going to upload. I'm going to choose a file. I've already saved the saved them where I wanted them to be. All right. So here's the mushroom. We found this in February, and I had never uploaded it. And this is kind of a cool mushroom. I'm going to combine those, and you'll see that it's suggesting things. This one doesn't happen to be this. I actually kind of know what this is. This is a Sporo. Vegas. Sporophagamyces. I'm going to say that it's Chrysostomus, and I am going to submit that. Mm. And so on the computer, that's as simple as it is. I just signed up for an account, joined a project, and uploaded a mushroom. So if you have not, and sorry if this is rehashed for anybody, but if you have not, it's quite simple. So here's my observation. And this is actually growing on a polypore. This was in March. It's kind of old and funky, but I had never found this before. And when Britt Bunyan was here, he mentioned these and said, look at the bottom of your of your polypores. And so I did and actually found this. And I find it fascinating. Um, this is actually a mushroom that's growing on the undersurface, and it creates a web of mycelium that catches the spores as they're falling out of the polypore, and that's what its food. So it's sporophagous. It eats the spores. This is what it would look like if you found it fresh. So you can see this is probably on the underside of like a Ganoderma applanatum or something along those lines. And so this is the web of mycelium, the actual fungi that's catching the spores. And when that little pop-up window for Sporophagamyces was there, you can look at view and click on that and see if some of these images are very similar to the images that you're uploading. Of course, mine was gnarly looking, but if you look at the edge here, I think this is actually what that was. All right, so I'm in the project of, let me go back to the projects, and I am going to go through and see what people have been finding. So because I'm in this project, it automatically uploaded to the project. So there's my observation. We'll see if somebody comes in and confirms it or doesn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and view all. And considering the time of year, there's not going to be many fleshy fungi that are popping up. And so you can see there are a number of lichens. And people have been getting very good. I'm guessing it's with the newer phones. They're able to get these macro pictures of these lichens, and they're beautiful. So I believe that's Roberta took that image. Look at this. That's fantastic. I'm not very good with the lichens, but hey, we have someone that could talk about lichens in a little bit. And she has suggested Parmela baltimorensis. But anyway, this is one that is very common. We see these all the time in the winter. It's still going to be growing. This is big biscognoxia. And you can see these little black dots all over it. That's actually the parathecia where the spores will be ejected. So normally the fleshy fungi that we find are basidiomycetes. This happens to be an ascomycete. The spores are produced in acci, they're little tubes, and so they'll poke through that hole, eject their spores, and shrivel up, and the process will continue. It'll eventually start turning this black coloration, but it's all over the place. If you happen to know or happen to agree, you can agree. And so now I have just agreed with that observation. And so it adds to the reliability of that observation. All right, let's go down here and see what all we can see. So you can see this looks vaguely chanterelle shaped. if you were to look close, it would eventually get knife-edged gills. You can see some splitting, some forking in the gills there. It's got decurrent gills. These are much oranger gills than you would see in an actual chanterelle. You'll also notice that there are a number of pine needles, which would indicate it's growing with pine. And that is the case for Hygrophorus, Hygrophorapsis aurantiaca. I'm going to agree with that. All right. Here is a supinate type fungi. So this is actually a fleshy fungi. It's in the crust family. And this wavy stuff here is actually the Hymenium. This is Glebia radiata. There is another similar looking fungi that is tremulosa, but that one tends to have form caps, which usually they'll form like on the upper surface if it's laying on the side of a log or something like that. So this is Phlebia radiata. You often find it growing under logs. More beautiful pictures of lichens. I believe everyone has seen this guy. So this is Trametes, and it's kind of hard to say. So when you are posting observations, let's see if this person has, they've only posted one image. And so when you post an image that only has one, we can't see the underside, so we're not getting all the features. And so in something like this, I can say, yes, that's Trametes, but if they would have posted the underside, we might have actually been able to suggest a species for this. So that does look like a Trametes. I'm going to go ahead and agree with that. And I believe I did see some that it kind of looks like. We'll get to that. Here's a mushroom. You can just post mushroom. They put agaricomycetes. I'm wondering on something like this, you'll notice this is actually at least three, probably actually it's four different fungi in one image. So you've got what look like turkey tail. You've got what look like Sterium complicatum. You've got what look like Sterium lobatum or some other Sterium. And then you've got this witch's butter. So this is, well, it was Tremella aurantiaca. And that's another thing about INAT is there are people on top of things actually giving the newer scientific names. So I'm out of date when it comes to stuff like this. So apparently the new name is Nematelia aurantia. The one thing about aurantia grows on Sterium, I believe. And so that the Sterium is actually there, that would indicate this is probably what that is. Let's see what else we got going on. Here's one that I know I've pointed out at many forays. The good thing about this is you can actually tell what type of tree that is. So this looks like a black locust stump, trunk, something. It might be still alive. Oftentimes they're dead. And it has this cracked cap polypore growing on it. So this used to be Phalinus Robineae, and which indicates the genus of the tree that it's growing on. And it's very common growing on that tree. Apparently it can grow on other things. And you can see down here, a number of people have chimed in and they also agree. I'm going to go ahead and agree on that one. The one thing I get hinky about on some of these is oftentimes there's not enough information in the images. But sometimes you get some that have a good amount of information. This one's kind of hard to tell just from the cap. You get the underside. You actually see, oh wait, it looks like there's a bit of a ring zone there. So something common in at this time of year is Flammulina velutipes, which is otherwise known as enoki. It's a cold weather mushroom. Um, and it has, they call it the velvet shank or the velvet foot. And it has dark, fuzzy base of its stem. So we don't have all that information, but it does not have a ring. So the fact that there is some sort of ring zone here is indicative. Now, of course, you would definitely want a spore print if you were planning on eating something like this, because Galerina marginalis or Galerina autumnalis um, grows and looks very similar and grows in the same environment on trees. So this could be a Galerina, and that contains amatoxin. Oh, look, you can see John Harper has chimed in, and he's saying this is tough. Um, so it's kind of hard to tell. Um, and the poster actually said that the spore print is brown. If the spore print is brown, that's going to indicate this is definitely a Galerina, not a Flammulina. Um, let's move on. Beautiful red, I'm sure popping out in this non-green time of year. Uh, so this is another Trametes. This is Trametes cinnabarina. I tend to, when I know that there are a number of species, I have a hard time posting an actual species because a lot of times these things are complexes. Um, there's two species that I know of in this group, and so saying Trametes is good, but you can see John's been busy in here. And so there's a number of club members that post, but there are also experts around the country and elsewhere that will chime in on some of these. Um, oh, here we go. Here's a nice winter mushroom. So these are not exactly brick colored on the top. Let's see if they've got a photo. There we go. Here's a photo of the underside. You can see it's getting this dusky coloration from the spores. This does look more like a brick top than something else, but see, me, myself, I would kind of be leery of actually calling that. So this is one of the reasons I haven't really been IDing things. I would definitely say it's a hypholoma, but I'm not certain that it's lateritium. Speaking of, I had just mentioned the velvet foot. This is Flammulina velutipes. Let's see if this is actually what I think it is. And so you can see it's starting to get brown down at the base and fuzzy. Uh, they haven't broken off a mushroom to see the actual underside of the gills. So I have a hard time actually calling that, but it does look like Flammulina velutipes. John tended to agree. Here's one that I believe they've gotten wrong. So I'm not sure if you guys know the purple pigskin, the pigskin puffball, the poison pigskin puffball. So that is in the scleroderma group. Sclerodermas have a purple gleba. They're actually not in puffball group. They're actually closely related to boletes. But you can see this is not purple. This is green. And so this looks like something more in the calvatia, which are the puffballs. I'll just say calvatia. because it um could be skull shaped. I'm not sure. Um, Here's Serenella. When I was looking through here, I noticed she's gotten a lot of beautiful pictures of lichens. And so you can see she's found the guild polypore. This is, well, it used to be Linzites, it's now Trametes betulinum. Multicolored guild polypore. Oftentimes there are a number of colors in the zonations on the cap. Can look a bit like turkey tail, but when you turn it over, it's got these gills, which are actually elongated pores. So I would have to agree with that. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to give you guys, oh, here's a cool one. Here's the one I was talking about. So that other Trametes, it probably wasn't this, but it could have been this. This one is relatively new to the area, at least for me. And it looks a bit like the Trametes gibosa that we find, except it's usually more gray or brown on the cap. And when you turn it over, here's it growing on the side, you can see it's got these very punctate pores that are relatively widely spaced. And so that's very different from gibosa. Gibosa has more, not necessarily maze-like, but they're elongated pores, all right up on each other. And so I think I started seeing these maybe a few years ago, and now they're all over the place. So they call this the latte bracket, which I think is kind of cool because it's kind of coffee colored on the top often. I'm going to agree with that. Here we've got some luminescent Pinellus. This is Pinellus stypticus. This is one of the ones that if you find it and can bring like a little twig home, bring it into the bathroom and look at the gills after your eyes get used to the dark, and you might see it glowing green. Serenella has gotten very good at using her macro. That's fantastic. So anyway, I'm not going to go into all of them, but hopefully I've kind of given you a little primer on signing up and posting some. I see we have a bluet here. Let's take a look at that guy. So again, another name change that I was unaware of. They are now calling this Coilibia nuda. And so this looks like a bluet. They tend to be lilac. They're going to have pale spores growing saprophytically. It's a beautiful picture there. So with bluets, you just have to be careful. You are not picking a Cortinarius. And oftentimes as bluets get older, they'll start turning almost a rusty brown just from drying out. And so sometimes when you turn them over, it might fool you and think that it's actually has rusty spores when actually it doesn't. So because Cortinarius have rust-colored spores, and oftentimes from the cortina, which is like the cobwebby veil, there'll be remnants here on the stipe that will collect and catch those because it's kind of sticky. You don't see any of that happening here, but you do see this dark coloration. That's just it drying out a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and agree. So I'm going to try and go on here more often and add IDs that I can be confident in suggesting. Hopefully this has made you feel that it's easy to sign up and do the same. Here is a cool one. We've had this one in the table ID before. A little ladybug with a little parasite growing on it. This is actually an ectoparasite growing on the ladybug. Hesperomyces. They grow from little ascospores that kind of hook onto the back cuticle of the and underside. It's actually sexually transmitted. So this is often why you see them on the back and on the underside. We've got an insect eating fungi. We've got a hypomyces, which is a mold eating a bolete. We've got some more boletes, and we're getting into December, and so we're going about a month ago. So I think I'll call it quits there. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope this kind of gives you the impetus to give it a try if you want to. All right. Well, thanks everybody.